Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Penn State Extension Food, Families, and Health Kitchen. So happy to see you. Today we're going to do, my name is Mandel Smith, and I work with Penn State Extension, and I cover Montgomery County, which is right on the outskirts of Philadelphia. So today we're going to do a broccoli salad. So I know you say broccoli and people come running, right? I've got a full house. I'm so excited to see everybody. But this is a great salad. It's really colorful and folks just love it. So I'm going to demo how to make this really simple, really delicious broccoli salad. So we're going to get started by getting our ingredients pulled together. So the main ingredients for the salad are, of course, broccoli. And I'm going to rinse this broccoli off. Want to make sure. And we also have, as one of our ingredients, red pepper. I'm just going to wash this by just gently rubbing it under cool water. And I washed my hands already. So before I start pulling the ingredients together, I'm going to put some gloves on. So give me just a second to do that. So broccoli salad is a really great way to add some, variety to a meal. You know, you can use this salad recipe as it is with the broccoli steamed, or you can use it with broccoli that you just chop up and have raw. So I'm going to steam the broccoli today, but raw broccoli works really well for this recipe too. Just a second. Okay. Getting my gloves on here. Get the second one on. Okay. That one went easy. Okay, so let's start by prepping our broccoli. So I have a head of broccoli here. And I'm just going to cut it into florets. So you can just cut off the stem. And the broccoli really just kind of falls apart into the size that you will need for this recipe. So I'm just going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. So it's really up to you. Sometimes I make this recipe and I make the broccoli florets pretty large. Sometimes I make it and I cut them up really small. So it's what you prefer and what your family likes. So sometimes people want a nice big bite of broccoli, and sometimes you just want a little piece of broccoli. So we're going to just kind of chop it up. And the recipe calls for about 2 cups of broccoli florets. So that's usually about a head of broccoli like we have here. And I include the stems because they add a little bit more variety to the texture, and they give a little bit of a crunch to the salad. So if you want to add the stem, you can do that. I just chop it up really fine. I'm going to put my glove on here and just add it to the salad. Okay. So we're going to just kind of chop this up. Now, sometimes I've had the question, can you add anything else to the salad? You know, it calls for broccoli and it calls for red pepper. If you like green pepper or if you like yellow pepper, you know, that works well too. If you want to add some cauliflower to it, you can do that as well. Okay. We have a few leaves there. I think this is about 2 cups of broccoli here. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to just kind of see how close we are. So you see 1 head of broccoli like that gives you about 2 cups. And I like to use 2 heaping cups of broccoli because you can never get too much broccoli, right? It's a great way to get broccoli into your diet. Okay, so once you cut your broccoli up, what you do is you're going to add just about a 1/4 cup of water to that. And you're going to cover it with some plastic wrap. There you go. And then you can either vent this or you can just use your knife and just put a few holes in it. And then you're going to microwave this. So you microwave it for about 3 to 4 minutes. It really depends on your microwave oven and how strong your oven is, how many wattage. So if you're have a really strong microwave, you may want to check it at about 2 minutes. At home, when I steam the broccoli, I always check it at about 2 minutes. It takes about 2.5 minutes for me, but 3 to 4 minutes. You don't want to get it soggy or too soft. You want it to be crisp. So this is the broccoli that I have ready. And see how nice and bright it is? So it only takes about 2 minutes in the microwave. I pulled it out of the microwave. I put it in some nice cold water to stop the cooking process and then drained it really well. So that's the broccoli. So next we're going to work on the red pepper. So I'm going to rinse this off real quick. Now, like I said, if you don't want to use red pepper, you can use green pepper. I like the red because it has that nice contrast with the green of the broccoli, but yellow pepper has a nice sweet flavor and works well with this recipe too. Okay, so to prep the pepper, what I'm going to do is just cut it into slices. So I'm going to cut the bottom off. I'm going to cut the top off. I'm going to get a slit right here, and I'm just going to go right through the pepper and cut out the membrane and also cut the seeds out as well. So you can do that in one simple step. You can save this for a snack in this part too. So just make sure that you have a good grip on your knife and that you claw your fingers because we want to practice good knife skills and we don't want to cut our fingers. So we're just going to cut this into strips. Now, what I do is I cut my pepper into thin strips, and then I cut it a little bit smaller because I don't want really big strips of pepper. So again, that's your personal preference. We just want to make sure that you're adding that pepper to the broccoli salad because the pepper is going to give you a nice amount of vitamin C along with the broccoli. So this recipe has over 100%, 110% of your vitamin C for the day. It's in this recipe. So I'm going to cut my peppers into smaller pieces. So we've got that. So let's do this one. Okay, my little buzzer not working. Okay, if I can get this. One more piece. Okay, we're almost done with the pepper. Okay, so now we have our red pepper in strips, and I'm just going to add it to the broccoli. And we have that set aside. And we're going to toss this in just a second with the dressing that we're going to make from scratch. Okay, so now we have the pepper and the broccoli ready. Next, we're going to cut up a red onion. And make sure you rinse your onion. Okay, and I'm going to use my paper towel to collect all the extra pieces. So we're going to slice off the top and the bottom. And we only need about a 1/4 cup of red onion. So that's not a lot. I'll cut this in half. I'm going to pull off some of these extra layers that are not perfect. Okay, and we're going to move this over to the side. Okay, so next we're going to slice up our red onion. So I'm going to just slice it. Now, I like my red onion in small pieces and small dice because I don't like that big taste of red onion. But red onion is great for this recipe because it's a little bit sweeter than just a regular yellow onion. So if you can use red onion or a sweet onion would be good in this too. Okay, so we're just gonna slice this up. We've got some nice small dices here. Okay, and this is gonna give us about a 1/4 cup. Let me get a little bit more. So I do have a little bit extra broccoli in there. Okay, so we have our onion just about ready. We have our red pepper. We have our broccoli. So I think that's about all the cutting that I'm going to do for this salad today. So next, we're going to start bringing these pieces together. Now, the recipe also calls for shredded carrot. So we're going to cheat today, and I'm not going to shred carrot here in front of you. I bought already shredded carrots. These are matchstick, if you can find shredded, or you can just shred your own carrot if you prefer to do that. So we've got this all pulled together. Next, we got all our veggies pulled together. Next, what we're gonna do is make the dressing for the recipe. So I like this recipe because it makes its own dressing. And I love doing that instead of buying dressing because you can really control the amount of salt in there. So a lot of bottled dressings that or prepared dressings have a lot of salt. If you look at the label, you'll see that. But this one, we're not going to add much salt. We're just going to add just a little bit. So we have 2 tablespoons of light mayonnaise already in the bowl. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons. Now it says of fat-free sour cream, but instead of using fat-free sour cream, I'm going to use fat-free plain Greek yogurt. And it gives a very similar taste, but I just like the Greek yogurt. So we're going to use that. So we have those 2 items in there. Now the recipe calls for a tablespoon of Splenda. This is a recipe from our Dining with Diabetes collection of recipes. So when I make it with a Dining with Diabetes class, I sometimes use the Splenda so people can get an idea of what that Splenda will taste like in the recipe. But today, we're not. I just wanted to show you that you can put Splenda or a little bit of sugar in it if you want a sweeter version. I like this recipe savory and not as sweet, so I'm not going to put the Splenda in, okay? But that's an option as well. Okay, so we have our mayonnaise, our sour cream. We're going to add to that a teaspoon of dill and just a little pinch of black pepper. So this is dried dill. If you have fresh dill, it works really well with fresh dill. But I didn't have any in my garden. I've already used it up for the summer, so we're going to use the dry dill instead. And also, it calls for a clove of garlic, but I didn't know if you guys wanted to have garlic and then go out for the rest of the day. So instead of that, we're going to just use garlic powder. And it only calls for about 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. That's a really, really simple dressing to put together. So I think I have everything in the dressing. So we have our mayonnaise, we have our yogurt, we have our dill, we have the garlic, a little bit of salt. And like I said, this recipe does call for a little bit of salt in the dressing, but not a lot, just a little bit more than a pinch. So it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, which is, I'm just going to do a pinch of salt. There we go. I don't even think you need that much, but it does benefit from having just a little bit of salt added. Okay, so we're going to mix this together. Now, when you take the recipe home, it's going to tell you to mix the dressing in one bowl and then put the ingredients. But I like to mix the dressing in a large bowl and then mix the ingredients in. You don't have to wash 2 bowls. I don't like to wash dishes. I love to cook, but I don't like to wash dishes. Okay, so this is the dressing, okay? So let's add all of the veggies to it. We have our onions, we have our red pepper, we have the broccoli, and It calls for 2 cups. You saw that, but I put in just a little bit more because I knew I would have a big audience, because when you say broccoli, people run, right? So we're going to do that. And we're going to also add just a little bit of carrot. Okay. And you see that these colors really work well together. And you only need about a fourth of a cup of carrot. Okay. So we're going to just kind of mix this together. This is a great recipe to, oh, I know. Sorry, I almost forgot. The crunch, I was going to say, you need some crunch. And the crunch comes from water chestnut. And you can just add the sliced water chestnut if you like. I like to cut them up just a little bit so you don't have a big chunk of water chestnut. I like to have like a little piece just to give you a hidden crunch in there. So this is just plain water chestnuts. These are sliced. If you want to buy whole water chestnut, sometimes I do that and cube it. So it's up to you. We're going to use sliced water chestnut, and I'm just going to kind of cut up a little bit more. And you see that it's almost like when you add water chestnut to a casserole and it gives that little bit of crunch. It does that to the salad. Doesn't add a lot of flavor, but it does give it a nice crunch. And I think texture is half the battle. So having a nice texture to the salad, it's going to make it really appealing. If you have anybody that says, I don't like broccoli, once they try this salad, they're going to love broccoli. Broccoli, I think, is a hidden gem in the vegetable field. People say that they don't like broccoli. Just try it a different way. If you try it a different way, you're going to love it. Roast it. It works wonders for broccoli. It makes it nice and sweet. Okay, so we're going to add the water chestnut, and we're going to stir this. And then right before we finish, I'm going to add a 4th cup of shredded low-fat, sharp cheddar cheese. Now, when you're adding this cheddar, when you're out shopping for the cheddar, make sure that you get the sharp cheddar cheese. Okay, so, and you see that little bit of dressing really stretches. So we've got that. Sure. Okay, we're going to just toss this good. And I'm going to ask if we have any. Okay. All right. So that's it. That is a simple broccoli salad that I'm sure anyone in your family is going to love. So thank you so much for coming.